He's one of the best coaches in football. The Ravens, there was a lot of reasons that the Ravens underachieved this year, and John Harbaugh is not one of them. Let me address it all. Do I think that John Harbaugh is a good coach? Yes. The fact that you can be somewhere for 18 years is incredible. The fact that he and Mike Tomlin were the two longest tenured coaches.
The NFL power structure caught fire the moment reports surfaced that John Harbaugh had locked in a massive deal to coach Shedeur Sanders outside the league, and the details instantly sent owners into panic mode. This wasn't a standard coaching contract or a consulting role. This was a full-scale power grab that rewrote what elite coaching authority looks like in modern football. The rumored deal centers around a jaw-dropping $20 million per year, complete control over roster decisions, the authority to select his own general manager, and a $10 million annual staff budget dedicated solely to building around Shedeur Sanders.
Who speculates on what he's heard about Harbaugh's prerequisites to even be interested in your job.
Okay.
$20 million a year.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. $10 million assistant coach budget.
Not a problem.
Okay. Total authority over the roster. And also would like to select his own guy to lean on, personnel guy.
Okay, so
that type of demand list doesn't exist in the NFL ecosystem, and that's exactly why league executives are reportedly furious. What made the situation even more explosive is that this deal allegedly sits outside the NFL's traditional ownership structure, allowing Harbaugh to bypass league limitations, internal politics, and salary cap restrictions. The agreement revolves around a privately funded football operation designed specifically to develop Shedeur Sanders as a generational quarterback asset, free from front office interference. That alone shattered decades of league norms overnight. NFL insiders reportedly described the reaction from owners as pure chaos. The fear isn't just about losing Harbaugh's services, it's about the precedent this sets. If an elite coach can demand total authority, unlimited staff resources, and a blank check without answering to ownership, the entire league power hierarchy collapses. That's why this story spread like wildfire across executive offices. The Shedeur Sanders connection is the fuse that lit the whole thing. Harbaugh believes Shedeur represents a once-in-a-generation quarterback who needs absolute system control, not committee decision-making or corporate football politics. The rumored agreement allows Harbaugh to design every layer of development: offensive scheme, personnel philosophy, quarterback coaching, sports science, analytics, and media handling, all centered around Shedeur's rise. What really sent shockwaves is how fast this came together. Reports suggest conversations accelerated after league resistance to certain quarterback-centric demands behind closed doors. Instead of negotiating down, Harbaugh allegedly stepped outside the system and built his own lane. That move alone rattled the league's core. This isn't just about money. This is about control, leverage, and a direct challenge to how NFL power has always worked.
And would like to select his own GM.
That's not a bad thing, especially for somebody like Harbaugh that knows what he's going to need. If I'm going to Cleveland, I know what I need in this room to be able to succeed.
Owners aren't used to coaches dictating terms, especially not ones tied to a single quarterback's future. But Harbaugh didn't blink, didn't soften the ask, and didn't back off the vision. This deal didn't just cross a line, it erased it completely. The most dangerous part of Harbaugh's reported demand list is how intentional it is. Every number, every clause, and every power shift was designed specifically to protect and elevate Shedeur Sanders without compromise. The $20 million annual salary wasn't about ego, it was leverage. It immediately places Harbaugh above nearly every NFL head coach, ensuring no owner can threaten his authority or override his football decisions. Then comes the real bombshell: total roster control. This reportedly includes final say on player contracts, draft priorities, free agent targets, and even developmental timelines. In the NFL, that power usually belongs to owners or GMs, not coaches. But Harbaugh allegedly demanded full autonomy, arguing that quarterback development fails when diluted by politics, brand interests, or short-term profit motives. Even more wild is the reported ability to choose his own GM. That flips the traditional hierarchy on its head. Instead of a general manager hiring a coach, the coach selects the executive who serves the vision. This GM role would function more like a chief strategist than a gatekeeper, ensuring Shedeur's development stays aligned with Harbaugh's long-term blueprint. The $10 million staff budget is another layer that set owners off. That number allows Harbaugh to stack elite coordinators, private quarterback specialists, biomechanical experts, mental performance coaches, and analytics teams that rival entire NFL departments. No cost cutting, no internal resistance, no ownership veto. League executives reportedly fear this model because it works. When development is centralized, aligned, and fully funded, elite quarterbacks thrive. That reality terrifies franchises that rely on fragmented decision-making and budget ceilings.
There's this thing in the NFL called Black Monday, and that is where you see an abundance of coaches, coordinators get fired because the season's over for most of these teams and, decisions need to be made. None of them had the history that John Harbaugh had. And you're hearing a lot of people on both sides of the fence. One side saying it was time, he should have been fired a long time ago. John Harbaugh had to go. And there's some people that's saying, well, he's been there for 18 years. He's a Super Bowl winning coach.
What adds fuel is how Shedeur Sanders fits perfectly into this structure. Harbaugh sees Shedeur as a quarterback who processes fast, commands locker rooms, and thrives in structured chaos. But that only works when the system bends around the quarterback, not the other way around. NFL owners are reportedly furious because this deal exposes a hard truth. The league's traditional power structure often slows quarterback growth. Committees argue, executives interfere, owners panic. Systems change yearly. Harbaugh's model removes every obstacle. That's why this isn't just a coaching deal, it's a systemic threat. It shows that elite talent doesn't need league permission to build elite environments, and once that door opens, it never closes again. This isn't rebellion, it's evolution. Behind closed doors, NFL ownership circles are reportedly calling this move an act of war. The biggest fear isn't losing Harbaugh. It's losing control over elite quarterback pipelines. If Shedeur Sanders thrives under this structure, every future top quarterback will demand similar protection. That would dismantle how rookie contracts, coaching hires, and front office authority currently function. Several owners are allegedly furious because this model eliminates their influence entirely. No marketing interference, no forced personnel decisions, no political hires. The quarterback becomes the center of gravity, and the coach becomes the architect. That combination terrifies traditional ownership groups built on hierarchy, not performance. There's also growing tension around timing. Harbaugh's move comes during a league moment where quarterback development failures are under heavy scrutiny. Multiple franchises have burned top picks due to instability, coaching turnover, and conflicting visions. This deal throws a spotlight on those failures and asks a brutal question. Why hasn't the NFL adapted already? Shedeur Sanders' involvement intensifies the pressure. He isn't just another prospect. He already carries massive brand power, media influence, and cultural relevance. That means success outside the league would embarrass franchises that passed, hesitated, or tried to control the narrative. Some league insiders reportedly fear a domino effect. One successful quarterback-centric operation leads to another. Coaches start demanding more authority. Quarterbacks demand system stability. Owners lose leverage. The business side starts bending to the football side. That shift threatens decades of ownership dominance. What makes this even more volatile is Harbaugh's credibility. This isn't a theory coming from an unproven coach. This is a Super Bowl winning leader with decades of locker room respect. When someone like that challenges the system, people listen. Several owners attempted to quietly push back, but the structure of the deal places it beyond league influence. No bylaws violated, no salary cap issues, no ownership votes, just a parallel football ecosystem operating at elite levels.
According to ESPN's Cleveland Tony Grossi, the full list of demands are $20 million per year, a $10 million staff budget.
That's why executives are panicking. They can't block it, can't regulate it, and can't discredit it without exposing their own flaws. This isn't just about Harbaugh and Shedeur. It's about control slipping out of ownership hands. And once control shifts toward talent and development, the league's entire balance of power changes forever. The most explosive element is how calculated the Shedeur Sanders timeline appears. This arrangement positions Shedeur to enter professional football with something no rookie quarterback has ever had: total system mastery before stepping onto an NFL field. No learning curve, no chaos, no scrambling to adapt to broken franchises. This model reportedly allows Shedeur to develop inside one coherent philosophy from top to bottom. Same language, same footwork principles, same coverage reads, Same leadership structure. That consistency is the holy grail of quarterback development, and it's exactly what NFL franchises routinely fail to provide. Harbaugh's reported vision removes the randomness that ruins careers. No mid-season coordinator firings, no forced scheme changes, no front office panic moves. Everything is aligned around maximizing Shedeur's strengths: processing speed, pocket command, off-script control, and leadership presence. Owners reportedly hate this because it exposes inefficiency. It proves that quarterback failure isn't inevitable, it's organizational. And that truth threatens billion-dollar franchises built on legacy, not adaptation. The media impact is already growing. Analysts are questioning why the NFL resists quarterback-centric models when evidence supports them. The conversation has shifted from, "Is this allowed?" to, "Why isn't this standard?" Several young quarterbacks across college football have already taken notice. Agents are reportedly studying this model closely, preparing to demand stronger developmental guarantees for future clients. That alone could reshape draft negotiations permanently. Shedeur Sanders benefits the most. His brand grows, his football IQ deepens, his leverage skyrockets. And by the time he enters the league, he won't be asking for patience. He'll be demanding alignment. That's the real reason owners are exploding. This deal doesn't just help one quarterback, it arms every future quarterback with leverage. Harbaugh didn't just sign a contract, he exposed a system that no longer controls the talent it depends on. The aftermath of this reported deal is already reshaping conversations across football. Executives are scrambling, coaches are watching closely, agents are recalculating leverage, and Shedeur Sanders sits at the center of it all as the symbol of a new power shift. League insiders now believe this moment will be studied for years, not because it broke rules, but because it broke habits. It showed that elite talent doesn't need to wait for institutional approval to build elite environments. Harbaugh's demands weren't insane, they were strategic. Every clause protected development, stability, and long-term growth. That's why owners are uncomfortable. The deal forces the league to confront how often politics, ego, and profit sabotage football excellence. Shedeur Sanders now represents more than a quarterback. He represents independence, leverage, and the future of athlete-driven systems. The old guard sees danger. The new generation sees opportunity. This isn't chaos, it's evolution. Behind the scenes, the ripple effects of this Harbaugh-Shedeur power move are getting louder by the day. Multiple NFL front offices are quietly reassessing how much leverage they actually have over elite quarterbacks moving forward. The old model was simple: draft the QB, control the timeline, and force development through whatever system already exists. That model is cracking fast. Executives are now openly acknowledging that quarterbacks are no longer just players, they are ecosystems. Shedeur Sanders has shown that brand power, cultural pull, and football IQ can merge into something bigger than a rookie contract. When that happens, control shifts away from owners and toward the talent itself. What's really shaking the league is how clean this move was. No lawsuits, no public fights, no league violations. Just a coach and a quarterback stepping outside the system and building something that works better than what the league offers. That scares people who rely on tradition instead of innovation. Some teams are already discussing whether future head coaches will start demanding similar authority clauses. Total roster input, long-term vision guarantees, protection from ownership interference. Those conversations were taboo before, now they're unavoidable. The Harbaugh blueprint also exposes how much money the league already spends inefficiently. Teams burn tens of millions on buyouts, failed coordinators, and system overhauls. Harbaugh's structure consolidates spending into one aligned vision. Owners hate that because it proves inefficiency isn't accidental, it's structural. Meanwhile, Shedeur's stock keeps rising. Every headline reinforces the idea that he isn't waiting to be shaped by the league, he's shaping his own future. That confidence resonates with younger players who are tired of broken promises and chaotic franchises. This chapter isn't about rebellion, it's about leverage finally catching up to talent. And the NFL is realizing too late that control isn't guaranteed anymore. Another layer quietly emerging is how this deal changes the quarterback evaluation process entirely. Teams are starting to realize that raw talent alone isn't enough anymore. Organizational compatibility matters just as much. Shedeur Sanders isn't just being evaluated as a passer, but as a leader who demands alignment, structure, and respect. That flips scouting culture on its head. For decades, teams asked whether a quarterback could handle a franchise. Now the question is whether a franchise can handle the quarterback. That mental shift alone destabilizes traditional power dynamics. Harbaugh's involvement adds credibility that no think tank or analytics department could replicate. When a coach of that stature commits fully to one quarterback's development, it validates everything Shedeur represents. It tells the football world this isn't hype, it's intention. Some franchises are already worried about draft leverage. If top quarterbacks begin refusing unstable situations or demanding developmental guarantees, teams at the bottom lose their advantage. Tanking becomes less effective. Control over young talent weakens. This is where ownership anxiety peaks. The draft has always been their reset button. But if elite quarterbacks start dictating terms before entering the league, the draft loses its power. Shedeur Sanders is effectively proving that development is a partnership, not a command. That message spreads fast in locker rooms, agent circles, and front offices. What makes this moment historic isn't noise, it's silence. No denial, no shutdown, just quiet scrambling behind closed doors. That usually means the pressure is real. The league can't stop this trend. It can only adapt or fall behind. And right now, adaptation isn't happening fast enough. This situation is no longer just about football. It's about who controls the future of the sport. The Harbaugh-Shedeur structure represents the first real blueprint for athlete-driven systems at the highest level. Not rebellion, not chaos, precision. The most powerful takeaway is that this model didn't need league approval to succeed. It didn't ask permission, it just executed. That's why owners are furious and players are inspired. Shedeur Sanders now stands as proof that preparation plus leverage equals freedom. Freedom from rushed timelines, freedom from broken franchises, freedom from politics that derail careers. This shift is already influencing conversations far beyond quarterback rooms. Coaches want more authority. Players want stability. Agents want guarantees. And the league is being forced to confront its own inefficiencies. This isn't a one-off. It's the beginning of a new era where elite talent builds ecosystems instead of surviving them. And if this breakdown exposed how deep this story really goes, make sure to like the video and subscribe so the next major shift in football power doesn't catch anyone slipping.